Introduction. My ebook Timeless Tweets 2000, containing over 2,000 tweets, is brought out as small videos. This is one such video. Chapter 18. No action. Rest. No talk. Silence. No thought. Meditation, provided you don't fall asleep. The Second World War, 1939–45, would have been witnessed only persons who are 75 or over, and that excludes most politicians, bureaucrats, and celebrities of today. That war is easily the largest immediately preceding major catastrophe that shook the world before Corona. And there is one major difference between the two wars. In that war, man was pitted against man, whereas men stand united now. You can meet a boss. Listen to him. Talk to him. Maybe even discuss with him. But oh no! Not argue with him, as that will put you on the way out. Corona has closed all doors to outside world. This gives man a chance to peep inside himself, if he is temperamentally so inclined. Or else, TV is there to keep the mind engaged without a break. Most people do not understand the difference between God and government. God cannot solve every problem that confronts man or meet his every need. That only God can. Coronaviruses enter the human body, get attached to the organisms there, and eat them up for their sustenance. That is its nature. The human body becomes alert and produces antibodies to fight the virus. That is its nature. Fierce fighting ensues, and if the antibodies win, the virus dies. If the virus wins, the man dies. That is also very fair. But then a doubt arises: who created the virus, who created the antibodies, and who kindled and umpired the fight between them, and why? Answer: God, God, God. Now, oh God, I wonder what you are. A soap, a talcum powder, an oil, a perfume, a sight or sound, music or speech, a drink, or even a recollected memory of a past event. Any of these can temporarily affect our mood and alter our course of thinking for the moment, for good or for evil. So fragile we are. You can legitimately ask/wonder where God is, or what he looks like, or why he does certain things, like tolerating evil, or why he does not do certain things, but you can't ask whether he is. That will not hold water. Anybody can see God's hands in all that we see, or even can't see, like coronavirus. But he does not show up his face. That is the problem. Little star, how I wonder what you are. Philosophy starts at kindergarten level. #God. If only God can show up his face, for a change, at least for a few seconds, to one and all, not only to the enlightened ones, then there won't be any religious wars on earth. There was a great blackout in New York in 1965, which left 30 million people without electricity for 13 hours. The report that there was a baby boom after 9 months was discounted as urban legend by the Population Association of USA. Later on, a study in 2013 of the rolling blackout in Colombia concluded that, had the whole of Colombia lost power for a year, an ADDL 27,000 children would have been born. http://cep/ls/ac/uk/pub/download/dp1247.pdf. The Corona lockdown, beware. A journalist was sore over the deleterious effect on India caused by foreign-based social media of giant proportions, any special reasons for India not sporting its own social media. Certainly, technical inadequacy or financial constraint cannot be the reason. People expect with childish glee that India will be the receptacle for all the industries, quitting China for various reasons, after Corona. We forget for a moment the resulting pollution, the destruction of natural resources, inroads into agriculture, the resulting wide disparities in income, and the erosion of human values. We don't realize that plenty is not the absolute hallmark of happiness, which actually lies in between plenty and penury. If Corona does not chastise people, nothing else will. #Coro. Millions can be made only in industry or politics. Capital sets the limit in industry. In politics, the sky is the limit. Justice exists only in the dictionary, not in real life. Or so it appears. Publicity and secrecy have their respective roles to play. If out of place or time, both can be disastrous. It is held by some that when public health is at stake, finance should not be a constraint, but then finance plays a role whether you assign or not. If your wife is terribly sick and you have no money and no scope to beg, borrow, or steal, what can you do exactly? Suffer in silence. And a government is no different. Manipulation of finance has limits. There is always a difference between God and government, even when the demand is fair and just. You cannot expect from government all that you expect from God. For example, Corona. An elephant was killed with fruit packed with a bomb. No doubt cruel, and there was a furor. But actually, man has all along been killing innocent animals and birds for food or even sport. Nobody got furious or shed tears on hearing the word chicken roast. How come? Mounting misery around the world with the advent of Corona is bound to shake belief in the minds of all right-thinking people, unless they are stubborn addicts with sealed minds. From the present fighting status, Corona may push mankind to wait and watch situation, something akin to truce in world wars, but that will not work out either. A very tricky situation indeed. Corona wants the proverbial pound of flesh, and we cannot afford to give. Ever since Corona has landed, our future is in guessland. Existence of God is a perfectly rational concept. But assumption of his constant attention or benevolence is a shaky notion fraught with dire consequences. Opposition parties and judiciary are two formidable forces to reckon with for any government. Of these, the opposition parties revel in embarrassing the government with impossible demands on behalf of electorate. As regards the judiciary, they may lay excessive emphasis on liberty, fundamental right, and justice to the core, and govs may not be able to comply with their norms in real-life situations. This is a dilemma all govs have to face. To wrench a life from the claws of death and give it an extension with artificial respiration, mechanical feeding, and the like for prolonged periods, with little hope for the restoration of even near normal living, may be a medical wonder, but a philosophical blunder. The prevalence of belief, in the hearts of millions, in the face of all the surrounding sorrow and grief in abundance, like Corona, if one needs an example, without any thirst for an explanation, or more correctly a justification, is simply astounding. When simmering discontent between friends comes to surface, it can either result in welcome resolution of long-standing misunderstanding, or heaven forbid, lead to a tragic breakdown of relations forever. Caution and luck are the need of the hour. If a person does not open up to anybody, under any trying circumstances, others will have only a telescopic view of his travail, not a microscopic view. Under these circumstances, neither can be blamed. Action based on a concept of right and wrong, unmindful of consequences, is principle-driven. Action based on a consideration of consequences, only unmindful of the principles, if any trampled upon, is hailed as diplomacy. Corruption must be dealt with on par with murder. Or else no chance for its eradication, and there is no point in asking us to live with it, like corona for instance. Corona is a mysterious virus, but corruption is a man-made one. Death penalty is an excellent remedy. The reception for any idea varies inversely as the weight it carries. Less the substance and more the glamour, the greater is the popularity and the louder the applause. We are not fighting corona, actually we are playing hide and seek with it, like lockdown, buying time till vaccine arrives. We are in the war front unarmed. An actor laughs or cries at the discretion of the director. In fact, we are all doing the same. The line of control may not be visible to the naked eye. Principles and pleasure do not always go together. Perhaps manplight is maker's delight. The object of all business is to make money by rendering a service. Social media is no different, but their definition of service maybe includes disservice. One policeman mercilessly hits a man, or one doctor neglects one patient, or one engine driver is drunk one day. All this goes viral. People feel as if all policemen are hitting the innocent all the time, all doctors are always negligent, and all drivers are always drunk. They fume and fret. For the social media, coffers are full. These are literally anti-social media. If corona is godsend, there is no point in fighting it. If he has also shown us the way to fight it, that is a cruel game. If he is not at all aware of it, that is unfortunate. If he is not there at all, that is disastrous. A flower in bloom, the smile of a child of the rising sun, the chirp of birds at dawn, the music of the waves, the river in spate, the rising springs, the gorgeous falls, the thick forest foliage, the towering blue mountains almost touching the sky, and the vast layers of melting snow, are all some of the handiworks of God, but unfortunately he did not stop with that. Gnawing hunger, writhing pain, the leaping lion and the fleeting deer, the crawling snake and its hapless prey, war, pestilence, fuming enmity, surging emotion, failing control, resulting crime, deprivation and separation, aching heart from broken love, shaky limbs, losing sight, faltering walk, fading brain, SARS and corona are all his making too, but pleasure is no compensation for pain. How come this point was overlooked? The birth of corona eclipses the birthdays of all celebrities of all time. The weakness in logic is that oftentimes we do not realize that it is weak somewhere down the line. No man can be held responsible for his actions performed under duress. The theory of misery arising out of karma therefore runs counter to the concept of omnipresence, omniscience and omnipotence of God. The mind-boggling speed, reach and ferocity of coronavirus make it clear that, now more than ever, God's intervention is very much needed, and urgently so. But as to whether God has made up his mind in this regard, as yet, remains unclear. It is everyone's prayer that he does not take any adverse decision in this matter as a punitive measure. God has not put his stamp, like address, phone, no email ID, etc., on his products. like all major manufacturers. So no scope for filing complaints or grievances. Sun is always bare, when rarely it hides its features, the effects are tremendous. So with nature. With humans, it is just the reverse. If a chartered accountant were to painstakingly prepare an account statement for God's concern for the creation of beings, and meticulously post all instances of pleasure and pain in the credit and debit sides, with due weightage for their probability of occurrence, duration, and intensity, the balance sheet is sure to show a terrible loss for all living beings as a whole. What exactly then is the motive behind this manufacturing activity? Some believe that what you intensely believe in is bound to happen. This may be blind belief, but that is what they advocate. Corona and its consequent lockdown have imposed downtime for both men and machines. Machines can be idle, but man cannot be. A time has to be used or misused, and cannot be halted in midair. Better the truth, though bitter at times it may be. A smile before camera is artificial, and so it is supposed to be. Sometimes it is so even otherwise, and you may call it courtesy, diplomacy, or even sheer necessity for survival in employment or business. Thank you for reading.